And welcome to all of you. I've brought Fabian today. We will have, like you see, open discussion about primarily AI, MCPs, how you can use Varify's MCP, but also how you can connect any other MCP with your LLM, which MCPs make sense in Zero, how you can utilize them. It should be basically an inspirational session today. Because in the last webinars, but also in our previous conversation with customers, we heard a lot that some use MCPs, some use AI, and we want to inspire you for some use cases. We bring 2 use cases today in a basic format, basically. And the main reason why we do that as well is basically also a bit of educating you what you can do. And yeah, welcome to all of you guys. Welcome, Fabian. Very nice to have you. When it's about AI and webinars, I think this is always a good match with us too.
Thank you.
Happy to have you. Feel free to introduce yourself to the audience who don't know you yet.
Yeah, hi, I'm Fabian. I am doing COO now for 15 years, but to be honest, I'm assuming not long anymore. Because what we're doing right now with Cogniteer, we're helping companies to scale and make that scale COO basically when it comes to test frequencies and variations, but also, of course, when it comes to the win rate, so improving the win rate of the experiments. So let's say we are basically an external center of excellence to help companies build a CRO program in-house, and also, of course, implementing AI into the process to make it as efficient as possible and fun as much as possible, of course.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you. And also, hi, Leonie. Thanks for being the first one who turns on the camera. Thank you so much. I have one little survey for you. Hi, Femi, the second one. Amazing. Super good. I start now.
How do I share this with other people?
You can share the Zoom link. Maybe Nora in the chat. Maybe you can share the Zoom link in the chat for other people to register, Nora. I started one survey, just that we feel free to participate here, that we have an understanding of how do you use AI today, what kind of MCPs are you using, and then we can take this as a good starting point. While you participate there, I quickly introduce the agenda of today as well. So what we are planning to do is basically a little introduction to MCP first, and then we have 2 use cases. How to use Figma in combination with the Varify MCP, and also how to build an automated experiment library. So how can you pull experiment results in your knowledge base, whether it's Airtable, Jira, Notion, ClickUp, there are many of them. And that's the idea. And as an optional, let's have a look at the time. If we can make it happen, we can also have a look at how we can build multi-armed bandit tests, for example, with API, with MCPs. But I think that will be super optimistic for what we planned. What is an MCP? I see how many people have used an MCP here. 6 have used some, 8 didn't. For the people who didn't use MCP, it's basically a plug between the AI you are using, whether it's Anthropic, Claude, OpenAI, Cursor, you name it, Gemini, obviously. And you can connect Varify or any other software with the AI to communicate in natural language there. How you do it in Varify, you just go under integrations, you toggle the MCP on, then you go into your LLM, and you just search in connectors for Varify, connect Varify, authorize it, and then you can communicate with in your LLM with Varify. So what you can do with the Varify connector, you can build experiments, you can set targeting, you can set traffic splits, but you can also pull analytics, pull goals, pull audits, pull everything what you see in Varify. And we will do 2 use cases today out of these basically. So let's start with use case 1. Fabian, we talked about this earlier, and I will do this like the CRO process always starts with research. We had this in the last webinar we did together. The research part is where AI supports especially good because of the patterns that AI can recognize. How do you use AI today for research, basically, before we jump into the first use case?
Was this for the round or was this for me?
This was for you.
Okay, sorry, I did not hear that. That was for everyone. Yeah, I'm actually also looking at the survey right now, and I see that not so many people using it actually for building hypotheses. I would say we use AI as a core of research, meaning when it comes to analysis, we have fixed template how we want it to be analyzed. But of course, the actually answers coming from the users, even building, I would say, the research questions and all that is based on AI. Of course, we double check it, right? But to evaluate and to put it into presentations or whatever you need afterwards, or even put it into hypothesis is a prompt. Yeah. So before we used to build a user, let's say a customer journey map, it took us a month. Now we just did it over the weekend, basically, and we designed the experiment or the research on Friday, started on the weekend, and on Monday we had the results already because we just have all the prompts ready, right? We're using our standard prompts and then put it into the right format that we want, in the templates that we basically want, and that's a prompt can do that.
Yeah.
Right.
When you look at the steps here, what we are having, we have, so in that use case, we have 5 steps from a real page, basically, that I gathered via the Figma Chrome extension. I just copied everything to the clipboard, used the Figma Chrome extension, put it into Figma, then run the CRO audit within Varify, connected GA4. What kind of tools do you connect with your AI to run research today?
We're using Curly, actually. That's a research tool that's connected to a panel, so we can directly get answers from the customers. And we're also using User Brain, for instance, which is more like a rapid user testing tool. Yeah. But of course, you can connect any survey to it, right? And get any answers.
Yeah.
Analytics, yeah. Yeah, but I find this really interesting, to take the landing page part, because that was usually the part that is done by humans, and now it's super easily done. Claude can do the screenshots, and because it's really important, actually, from my point of view, that you analyze the screenshots and not just the URLs. Because if you analyze URLs, you have basically always, it just understands basically the code structure, and it understands the wordings, but it doesn't see the actual page. So it should always find a way to analyze the screenshots of it.
Yeah, let's have a look in the use case, basically. So we take the page, we run the CRO audit, we draw it in Figma, we build it in Varify from Claude. And we are not using, in that use case, PBX, but I will show you how PBX, so the AI assistant within Varify, and what are the differences basically between both approaches. So what we are having here is the landing page by Kijimea, basically. So it's a real landing page. It's already optimized. And the hard part, especially when you already put a lot of effort in a landing page that already performs well, is to find where are the last thingies that you can optimize basically there. So I put it into Varify test ideas generator, and I got 10 experiment IDs there. What we typically did, and what we currently do, but what we will change in the next couple of days, is that we just have a screenshot, we query the HTML, and we get experiment ideas based on CRO frameworks, for example, lift models and other models that you can use to evaluate or to audit landing pages, websites, etc. What we will release this week and what's already live on pre-prod is that you can connect the Google Analytics MCP with Varify. So we will not only have the context of the design, we will also have the context of the data for generating test ideas. And for AI, context is key. The more we know about how users behave, what we see on the website, the better. And this is why we bring now Google Analytics MCP into Varify, that the AI also understands what's going on your website. What we also bring is a media library where you can upload images that you can reuse them to build them later. But how does it look like now? When we go into Figma, we had basically this landing page here in Figma. And I had this audit that I just run. So what I did is I said to Claude, basically draft these 10 experiment ideas as designs in Figma, as new elements, so I can afterwards build them in Varify directly. Let me know if you need anything else from me. So what it got, experiment ideas and the Figma design. And out of that, you will get here 10 experiment ideas ready built with a design that you can just build it now within Varify. The next step would be to double check if we like the designs, if we like the communication. You can observe this, you can adjust it, whether you do it directly in Figma, the old school way, or you prompt it in Claude and adjust it, basically. And basically out of this, you can directly say to Claude, now build this page for me, basically. Where are we here? We are here. So we have the designs and we want to build these experiments now in the account ID XYZ. This is the account. We now see 10 experiments, the exact same 10 experiments we just saw, just as an example. Let's have a look at experiment 2, for example. We see we have here let's look at the hypothesis. The strongest arguments on the page 5 seeds versus a rainforest is buried in 6 line paragraphs. So we see a lot of text here, and we want to cut the paragraph to a punchy line and a comparison of the panel directly under it. This is how it looks in original. This is what the MCP built, or the Figma MCP built out of it in combination with Claude. And when we look at the result in Varify, we see this is how it looks in a preview mode. It injected the JavaScript right from Claude, and it took me like 10 minutes to build this experiment, just with a basic prompt. And now we are ready to Q&A the experiment ideas. When you think about these use cases, what goes through your mind? I saw you already wanted to add something to that use case, Fabian.
Yeah, it's a really great process. I mean, great way to showcase. Our process works a little bit different. We look into analytics, ask analytics basically, where should we optimize? Yep. Then we go into clarity and ask clarity with the same context from what's just coming from analytics. Why? And then if we don't know the why from clarity, then we add up our knowledge base where we have like the CRO knowledge in there, the customer knowledge and all that to create a hypothesis. Because it's not about creating, I would say, 10 hypotheses, right? If you ask 10 people, you get 20 answers, basically, right? So it's more like about doing more, forcing the AI to help me with deep dives. And then as the outcome, the output of the flow is basically a Notion table, and the Notion table has the prompt which we then can use in Varify, for instance. Yeah. So we don't have a design process anymore, design step anymore. We have an output of the prompt, how it should look like. So we skip the design part and go directly into Varify and then see how it actually looks like in Varify the first time, basically. And then we share the preview link with the client. So it's already interactive. So we don't have like, for me, the design step kind of died on the way, which is a little bit unfortunate for designers though. But of course, I get it that you still need to align things and also rethink things and all that. But for us, it's more like really text-based till the point till it goes into the tool. And then we build the final design actually in the tool, and then we adjust the prompt basically.
It's funny that you say it, because in the last webinar I also shared a bit of our vision that we see ourselves a bit, for everyone who knows Lovable, for example, it was building, or it was supporting building prototypes for you also with prompting. And we see ourselves also with PBX a bit like the Lovable for A/B testing, for example, where you can just prompt your way to the final A/B test. Is that something you refer to basically? So, and how was your experience when you sent text to Varify PBX? Was it the first shot? Could you do you need some iterations? What was your experience there?
Surprisingly, not a lot of iterations. More like, of course, some conditions are not considered, but it also always depends on how good is your prompt. If you tell him mobile desktop, for instance, that he has to consider mobile desktop, and he has to have access already to your code and all that. Surprisingly, not a lot of iterations. I mean, imagine you also have always iterations with design, right? And there are always iterations. So I would say it skips actually a lot of iterations. And I would also say that also over the 15 years of experimentation, I would say it doesn't need to be pixel perfect, right? It should work. It's in the end of the day, it's an experiment. Doesn't mean that it has to be the end result of that's what you're going to launch. You just want to know if it's the right direction, if the direction works. There are like some edge cases are totally fine. You can easily also take them out by targeting, for instance. We always exclude, I don't know what are all these browsers, Internet Explorer and all these old browsers, right? They've always been excluded anyways. So you don't need to really find the right way to work for these browsers, for instance.
I would thank you so much. I would go for the next case because I'm looking at the time a bit. But I see many people in the audience that I'm very sure, and for some I already know it, that you also utilize AI very strongly. So feel free also to share your point of view, because this is the nice thing at AI right now. When you look at how others prompt, how others use AI, it's so interesting sometimes how different AI gets used. So we are super open for other opinions and other use cases. This is why we are here today, basically, to inspire a bit, to give you some basic information about how you can use it. And in the end, everyone uses AI a bit different. That's the good part. So feel free to share your thoughts in the chat here. Feel free to share questions in the chat directly to Fabian, directly to me about Varify, just as a little reminder. While you can share your questions, I would like to do, so we talked about building experiments, doing research. You mentioned this in a sentence already, Fabian, and that was basically you have a knowledge base about your customers, you have a knowledge base about your experiments, and this is also the part of the second use case that you can do. Pull your test results and push it directly into your knowledge base in an automated way. And this is about that case now. So you can ask which tests are running right now, what experiment ID, what variation ID, and the results out of it, what were the primary goals, etc. And the connector pulls these experiments, you get the results. This is what we see here. So I just said, tell me the current tests in that experiment here and give me the results for each experiment. So I got an overview of the results, and I want to push them automatically in my knowledge base. So just told him, can you push this into my Notion table? And yeah, it works quite straightforward. So it pushes it automatically in the active experiments table in Notion. You can even add JavaScript. You can even add the screenshots of it of the knowledge base. But this is a very basic version of it. I for example use Obsidian to build a second brain, to have it locally. I connect it to my Git repository to let it update and give other people in the team access to the knowledge base. You can use Airtable, Jira, all of them have MCPs. But how do you do MCPs, Fabian? What MCPs? How do you build your knowledge base right now, and how do you use all the tools together combined that the knowledge gets centralized and everyone can benefit from the knowledge?
I would say quite the same process again that we do in the first analysis step, because it's the question basically. I mean, there's one thing is the knowledge base. The knowledge base is basically where we have everything about the users, the brand, and let's say our market, whatever we could consider to create a good hypothesis. This base here, this is like the testing result, where you gather your learnings. So you also want to somehow get some deeper insights, right? One thing is test results, to document test results is one thing, but we want to actually understand if a test was not successful, why was the test not successful? And then we want to document that as well and consider that for the next iteration. So we have a more analytical process coming afterwards. So let's say, for instance, the test result, you have a significant test. Let's say it's negative. Then we go into analytics, into BigQuery, for instance, and ask them BigQuery, okay, why might this test not be successful, to find like insights in the data? Maybe it's certain segment, maybe it's just mobile, maybe it's just desktop, all these segmentations you can do, right? Maybe it's traffic that's coming from organic or from paid traffic. I don't know what it is. So this is what we want to find first. And then we do the same process and do a screenshot again of the page and then ask them, hey, why was this not successful on mobile, for instance, and mobile and paid traffic? And then create some new hypothesis based on that. And that's basically how the circle closes, that we do the first analysis and the same analysis afterwards and document that into one database. Let's call it database. You don't need to use Notion, right? You can also use simply Excel or Jira or whatever you're using. It works the same. But you just want to document basically the insights, because it's one thing to have a negative test. The other thing is not to learn from it. It's like you want to learn from it, right?
But that's from what I heard from people that I spoke with. You start with creating that knowledge base, and then you just have it. You forgot to nurture it at a longer period. Then you run a test. After a year, you run the same test, which is totally fine. You need to validate if that changed, etc. But
I mean, you're doing each test that you're doing with the best intention. So you believe it's a winner, and if it's not a winner, then your belief was wrong. So it would bother me. I mean, I have been there. It bothers me if I think my belief was wrong. I have done so much analysis into it, and then my hypothesis is not working. So to be honest, this affects me emotionally. I want to know what is happening here. So I think that's also one of the quality criteria that we should not get rid of. Just document test results and say plus, minus, plus, minus. We want to know minus, why? Because we have done it with the best intention. Yeah.
Great. Yeah, that are things why it matters. We already talked about it. Especially, I think for agencies, it's super interesting when you report things. Basically, when you report it to the clients, you can automate that process. Basically, to get that results in the matching slides. You can do it weekly instead of never. This is what I meant with you do it once and then you accidentally forget it. You can build routines, for example, in Claude, that you just pull it every Monday, and every Monday you pull the results, and then you can have this process of learning. You just have the results you can talk about in the team. and you can build knowledge out of that. And also, this is also what we talked about. Have we tested this before? When we debate about it, we can just ask the knowledge. Basically, if we tested it, what was the outcome? What was the previous learning? I think this just makes it much easier to make this a process without having too many resources locked in for nurturing that knowledge base, right?
I mean, it's also, I would say, this meta-analysis. If you, like for instance, we had one client, they have done 200 tests in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And then they come to us and tell us, what should we do now? Because we don't have any ideas anymore. Our brain is basically empty. And then we go through the tests and tell them, hey, we clustered your tests and we found out that all your tests that you have done when it comes to trust performed really well. So why not continue this direction? Or all the tests that you have done in Poland when it comes to pricing were not successful. So let's think about why is pricing in Poland not successful, and build a hypothesis based on that insight. So the meta-analysis later on is so much easier now, and you can literally do it every day. Before, you had to take time, analyze all the tests you have conducted, and you won't see through it anymore. But then nowadays, if you make everything available to someone, in this case Claude, who can actually analyze it, you have it always available, and you can always make predictions, or you can always come up with better hypotheses based on the test results that you already have, to find these nuggets in there. Because one test is one test, but if you have done 15 tests and you see that all the tests when it comes to urgency or trust or UX or whatever, or psychology, have worked really well, so why not continue this direction and ask Claude again, hey, how can I continue this direction, right? You don't even have to think about it anymore. Just ask them directly, I want to continue the successful directions.
100%. And to help you like figure out what's the outcome of it, we bring with Varify actually 2 new features also live, which is already also live on pre-prod. You will have an AI results overview that we can recommend you basically to roll out the variation, stop it, rerun it, etc. for the matching results. And this kind of breaks my heart a bit because the approach of Varify was always to not be dependent by an own tracking, and we always integrated in the existing web analytics tools. But we will give a hybrid setup. So we have developed our own tracking that you can create own events, especially when you have new events that are not measured yet by Google Analytics. You can easily set them up in Varify, and feel free to let me know if you're interested in having an own tracking within Varify. Feel free to hit me up. I'm looking a bit at the time. I would say, as a last thing from our side, Fabian, and I pass the ball to you quickly as well. Feel free to reply to the email after that workshop or live session today, however you want to name it. And you will get 14 days free access to all the pro features, to try the MCP, try the AI features, to see if you see value. If you don't, please hit me up or Fabian. Fabian is doing workshops for Varify customers. Fabian, what will the participants can see in that workshops with you? What are you doing with them?
We have 2 workshops. One, we can do a small consulting and look into your individual case. Happy to do that. If you have any questions, let us know. We can look into your individual use case. But we're also having actually a AI bootcamp soon, where we have certain slots for free, which is with the online university, also with partnering with Varify. So this will be, I will be launching that probably tomorrow on Friday on LinkedIn, and also on the university we'll be launching that. And it's basically from 0 to 100 when it comes to AI, how to set it up, how to do analysis, how to build hypotheses, all that in 4 sessions. We will also invite other partners. And yeah, if you're interested into a free session, let me know. I'm pretty sure I can organize a free ticket. or in best case, message me why you would like to have a free ticket. If you have done something great for the environment, or if you're helping people in war, I don't know, then we're always happy to share a free ticket for that one.
Amazing. Yeah, let's stay a couple minutes. Feel free to share questions about AI, Verify, whatever here in the chat. Feel free to unmute yourself. And Fabian, let's wait a couple minutes. If there are some questions, we are very happy to answer them. For the audience who don't have any questions, thank you so much for joining. And we will do this regularly every 2 weeks, talk about AI, talk about new features, share some use cases. And yeah, thank you so much.
And of course, you can find me on LinkedIn, right? Fabian Hans.
Yeah, we will add this in the email as well, that it's easier to find you. Thank you, Nick. Thanks, Bernd. Thanks, Xenia. Stu, thank you. We explained everything, Fabian. There are no questions.
Yeah, then.
Nice to have you, Lars. The construction work outside gets louder and louder. Fabian, did you hear that in the webinar, or was it non-hearable?
No, I did not hear anything.
Okay, that's good. Then the works good. All right, I think there are no questions anymore. Thank you so much, guys, for joining. Have a great Wednesday, and yeah, hopefully see you soon. Bye.
Bye-bye.